Welcome. I invite you to join me in a brief exploration of Leo Tolstoy's profound story, The Candle, published in 1886, and to look at how it intertwines with Joseph Campbell's The Hero's Journey. Tolstoy's The Candle was told to me many times by my father when I was a child. It moved me then as it still moves me today. In this video, we'll dive into how these narratives symbolize the intense work we do in psychotherapy and parenting, two areas where true growth often requires balancing immediate, short-term gratifications with a broader vision that embraces long-term goals and a more meaningful, expansive purpose. Let's begin with a brief summary of Tolstoy's The Candle. The story follows a man known for his cruelty and bad habits. His wife's love for him fades as she becomes disillusioned by his behavior, leading him to seek redemption. Motivated by vanity, the man learns of a miraculous candle that, if carried unextinguished through a perilous journey, can absolve his sins. The journey began with a single, hesitant step, driven by the man's burning desire to reclaim the love he had lost. His motivation, fueled by vanity and a need to prove himself, was as fragile as the candle he now held before him. The path ahead was uncertain, shrouded in darkness and fraught with dangers he could only guess at. Yet the man set out, clutching the candle with a mix of determination and desperation, unaware of the grueling trials that awaited him. As he ventured into the wild unknown, the weight of his past misdeeds pressed heavily upon him, but it was the flickering flame that held his focus, pulling him forward into the storm that would test every fiber of his being. Amidst the fury of a blizzard, the man trudged forward, his body hunched against the relentless onslaught of wind and snow. The howling gales lashed at him with ferocious intensity, whipping his cloak and stinging his face with icy shards. In his trembling hands, he clutched the candle, its fragile flame flickering dangerously with every gust. His breath came in ragged gasps, each step a battle against the elements that seemed determined to snuff out the tiny light. But he pressed on, his eyes fixed on the flicker of the flame. His muscles ached, his fingers numb from the cold. Yet he shielded the candle with his whole being, refusing to let it die. As the storm raged on, rain began to pelt down, soaking him to the bone. The droplets hissed as they struck the flame, steam rising in wisps from the candle's edge. His feet slipped in the mud, and he stumbled, nearly falling, but he caught himself just in time, his heart pounding with fear. With each agonizing step, with each new candle that he transferred the flame to, his motivation slowly began to shift. What had begun as a journey driven by vanity and the desire to reclaim his wife's love now started to peel away, layer by layer. The ego-driven need for validation ebbed, replaced by a deeper, more profound sense of purpose. He began to feel something unfamiliar, a gnawing remorse, a recognition of the emptiness of his past actions. The storm became a mirror to his inner turmoil. And as he battled the elements, he also wrestled with himself. He realized the emptiness of his previous vanity and how his old way of life had been pushing away his wife, leaving him not only alone in her absence, but also estranged from the true essence of who he was meant to be. When he finally returns home with the candle still burning, he finds that his transformation has rekindled his wife's love. Their relationship is renewed, now based on mutual respect and a deeper, more authentic connection. Next, let's explore how Tolstoy's The Candle aligns with the hero's journey, a narrative structure identified by Joseph Campbell. In the hero's journey, the protagonist embarks on an adventure, faces trials, undergoes a transformation, and returns home with newfound wisdom or an elixir. In The Candle, the man's call to adventure comes when he decides to carry the candle, crossing the threshold into a world of trials. These trials, the rough weather, the treacherous terrain, the internal struggle, represent the tests in the hero's journey. It's through these challenges that the man is transformed. His ordeal is keeping the flame alive, and his reward is not only the redemption of his soul, but also the renewal of his relationship with his wife. Finally, the man returns with the elixir, the wisdom and transformation he has gained. His journey, like that of many heroes, is one of profound internal change, where the trials serve as a catalyst for personal growth and deeper understanding. Now, let's connect this story to the work we do in psychotherapy. Much like the man's journey in The Candle, therapy often involves a long and challenging path. The goal is to keep the flame, representing our emotional and psychological health, alive. This requires dedication, resilience, and a willingness to face uncomfortable truths. In therapy, the trials we face, whether it's confronting past trauma, overcoming deeply ingrained defenses, or navigating complex emotions, are akin to the rough weather and treacherous terrain the man encounters. In concrete terms, we give up the short-term pleasure of avoiding something scary or painful in order to reap long-term peace and healing. The single-minded focus on healing and reaching our therapy goals, choosing to forego feeling better for the moment in favor of actually getting better, is what eventually leads to personal growth and the resolution of neurotic suffering. Parenting, too, reflects the themes of The Candle. To do what is truly in the best interest of a child often requires setting aside personal desires. This devotion, much like the man's dedication to keeping the candle lit, involves enduring challenges and making sacrifices, or setting aside what we want to do to make us feel better for the moment in favor of deeper wants that go beyond just feeling good. Parents grow through the daily trials of parenting, whether it's staying up all night with a sick child, sacrificing personal time for the child's needs, or making tough decisions for their well-being. This growth comes from the realization that the act of nurturing and protecting something greater than oneself, like a child or a candle's flame, leads to a deeper sense of purpose and fulfillment. At its core, Tolstoy's The Candle is a story about personal transformation, driven by the dedication to something greater than oneself. Whether it's the man's journey to keep the candle alight, the work we do in therapy to resolve deep-seated issues, or the sacrifices we make as parents to raise our children, the message is clear. True growth comes when we put aside personal desires that get in the way of an awareness of a greater purpose. The trials we face, the challenges we overcome, and the unwavering dedication we bring to our goals lead us to a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. In the end, it is this dedication, this willingness to keep the flame alive, that transforms us and those we care about. As we are getting to the end of this video, I want to address what could be a mistaken interpretation of this video. This video could be interpreted as an idealization of selflessness and a vilification of self-interest. This kind of puritanical ethos would be an unfortunate takeaway. One does not need to be an ardent student of history to see how these ideals are unattainable, and in fact, can create a lot of psychological suffering. Instead, the takeaway I hope you take from this video is how defensively grasping for immediate gratification can be an obstacle to personal growth. This is not to say that enjoying life and its many pleasures is a bad thing. Thank you for joining me on this journey through Tolstoy's The Candle and the hero's journey through the lens of psychotherapy and parenting. I hope this exploration has inspired you to reflect on the paths you are on and the flames you are dedicated to keeping alive.